And welcome to the Longbangers Thursday phone-in in association with Leeds Spirits. I'm Matty. I think we've got lots to talk about tonight. Hammering by St Mirren on Saturday, and then like Hibs have gone all out to make up. This is like when you've stayed out later than the one drink that you were meant to, and you turn up back at home with flowers for the garage and the chocolates, and that's this is Hibs trying to make it up to us with a load of signings this week as well. So things are looking a bit brighter than they were on Sunday evening. Anyway, Jeff, you're first on tonight. So where do you want to start?
A couple of things from the game on Sunday. Just might as well cover that. There seems to be a lot of word on social media about Ekpiteta, Big Marv, getting bullied. I've watched the game in full again on the Hibs TV, and apart from one challenge, the second ball where he got nudged and he was offside anyway.
Yep.
I didn't see him get pushed off the ball once, not once. And this, because they did have two big centre forwards and they did win a couple of balls, but you're going to expect them to win some. But the big guy and O'Hora, they never got beat. The one player that did get beaten there was Obita by Rooney. Second half, a few balls came across and Rooney was run at them and won. But it was slightly annoying me. This thing that St Mirren, big bulky forwards, were beating up our defence. They weren't. We coped very well with them. It was the legs in midfield that were, not as Big Marv said in the Bartley. There's two Big Marvs now. Be careful. Marvin Bartley said in your excellent podcast, it was legs in midfield. They just ran through us, which was the embarrassing thing on Sunday.
And you point to the midfield there as well. The midfield is probably the area that I think still needs addressed. Do you think we're still lacking in there, Jeff?
Yeah, definitely. For the way David Gray wants to play, I would say I don't think Newell's the answer at number 6. I love Joe Newell, one of our best players, but maybe we're not getting the best out of him, and it's costing the team. If you look at the last two goals on Sunday, I'm not blaming him, but the midfield as a whole didn't get back and rush as Marvin Bartley said, rushing back, bust a gut. He's probably trying to do too much. So yeah, I definitely think we need a big number 6. I don't know if the guy from Dundee's the answer, whatever his name is. Thank you. Yeah, he's a good player. I'd have him in the team, but is he the number 6 we're looking for? Maybe Silla would be a better bet. Just a thought. I'd have my, it's my own view. I always thought when we've played our best football through the years, we've had a destroyer in midfield. Matty Jack, Bartley. I missed one somewhere. There's another one that came to mind.
Jorge Claros.
Yeah. No, I wasn't really thinking about him, but
Mark Milligan.
Yeah. Mark Milligan, yeah.
Milligan was a good
even big Nectar Triantis last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't the perfect number 6, but he certainly, he bossed that area in front of the back 3, 4, whatever we play. But yeah, happy with the signings. Absolutely delighted. We've got somebody through the door, but we're still lacking in midfield at the moment. We'll see what happens.
What did you think, Jeff? Marvin's question about Joe Newell doing too much?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, players, people say he hides in some games or isn't seen as much, but I just think he runs himself into the ground. We watch. I'd like to see what his stats are on those little sports bras they wear. See how many he covers in his heat map and stuff. But he's not shy of a challenge, and he wins his headers. But he's not that physically. You look at someone and think, "Fuck me, he's a brute in midfield." Like Marvin said, he was confident he'd win his battles. And Joe gets booked, but they're not for. Apart from one or two, they're not for huge physical challenges. They're just being late most of the time because he's knackered.
And excuse me, how are you feeling now compared to how you were feeling at full time on Sunday?
Well, I'm allowed my belt and my laces again, so good. Yeah, Sunday was. I wasn't confident before we went. I didn't put a lot on social media. I said, yeah, we're going to win 2-0 or whatever, or 1-0. My main thing was just don't get beat, because it just sets the tone for social media. If we hadn't got Bowie over the line, that was the thing that worried me, was not the fact it could have been any player, but we're in for him. We've virtually got him. Hearts showing interest. We think we've got him back anyway. I thought they might have played a blindy here and say, yeah, we're not interested. Then they are interested. You and other posters are putting stuff on going, and suddenly he's off to the other side. I think the Twitter would have had a meltdown. So, I'm feeling a lot better in answer to the question. A lot better. Happy with the signings. Hoylett has an impact. So, Bowie take a partner, Miko up front, or maybe playing his own up front with Boyle. I don't know what formation we're going to play. Who was the other one? Chris Cadden's brother. Nicky.
Yeah, Nicky Cadden and Junior Hoylett as well.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Nicky, but he seems to. He obviously gives us cover on the left side where we're short with Obita. Puts in good crosses. I read the Hibs Observer piece on him, and it just gives us options which we sadly lacked on the left-hand side. I'm just worried about what happens to Rudy now, Molotnikov, whether that's his season over with Hibs. Where is he in the pecking order? We'll see on Sunday, and once the dust settles.
Yeah, I think with Rudy, gives us a chance to bleed him in rather than relying on him.
Yeah,
which is probably a better thing for him, I think.
Yeah, and maybe not play him left wing or left side.
Yeah,
I've not seen him. I saw him play in the European games, and he looked good. Is he more a natural number 10 inside, or inside right, inside left, than a sort of out and out hugging the left touchline? I don't know. Somebody else can answer that question. But it might do him good to try another position because we're not relying on him on that left side.
Yeah. Nicho87 said, just a heads up, Stephen Naismith was going to join in tonight's debate, but turned out he wasn't interested. And Alternative Hibs, which is our John, asks why you're hiding in your room, Jeff.
Well, just because.
Just because. What did you make of the reaction to the defeat on Sunday? Because everything went fucking mental for a little while, didn't it? Until the signings started coming in. How justified do you think that was, or otherwise?
We're only one game away from a crisis because of what's happened the last couple of years. I think it's been discussed in all the pods. Yourself, Down the Slope, the Hibs Observer, saying we just seem to be. We might have gone a bit of a good run, then one bad result, and it's back to Ben Kensel this, or David Gray's the cheap option, doesn't know what he's doing. Where I just think we need to just calm down and give the process. I hate to use that word, but Malcolm Mackay's only been in the door. This is his first proper transfer window. David Gray's just started, or he's been around the club for a while. The new coaching team, give them a chance before we start, flinging them into the thing. And Malcolm Mackay has warned us that it'll take till next season to get properly rid of everybody and get the team in that we absolutely need. But if that's a sign of things to come, the signings we're making and the talk of McCown and this interesting Campbell, I don't know if Campbell, is he a number 6? Is he a...
I thought he was more like an 8, but I have to be honest and say I don't know the difference between a 6 and 8. Like, I know numerically what the difference is between 6 and 8, but in terms of football, I guess like 6 is a bit deeper and 8 say box to box. 10 is your creative one, is that right?
Yeah, 6 is 6 can be box to box, but he provides the shield, the muscle, if you like, the proper muscle. And as I see it could wear any number. But if I was picking a team, whatever number they wear in front of the defence is a ball winner. Somebody can pass the ball and get through the other box and score goals is like gold dust. The guy from Villa was quite good at that. Who's now gone? That's the sort of your typical 6. But anyway, Campbell, that would be a real statement of intent if we got him. Proper statement.
I think if we got Campbell and McCowan and we're immediately a top 3 midfield. I think both of those together. Like, obviously Dundee don't have a top 3 midfield with McCowan in it, but I think if you put Campbell in along with, I guess, Joe Newell, but you take a bit of heat off Newell, then if those two come in, you can play Mariah Welsh, or I think there's more to come for Amos as well.
He's lacking game time.
So then I think we're competitive in that area of the pitch, whereas at the moment I don't think we've got a top 6 midfield necessarily. Jeff, I'm going to bring Callum next. Callum, just to start, first of all, welcome to the phone in. I think this is you've dialed in before, but I don't think you made it onto the actual phone in last time. I don't know what happened, if I remember right.
No, this is my second appearance.
Second appearance.
Second cap. Aye.
Second cap. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Your first one was memorable. That's no reflection on you, it's a reflection on me. Right, Nicho87's got a question for the panel, so I'll put it to you first, Callum. He says the latest rumour is Hibs are offering Levitt and cash for Luke McGowan. Would you be happy with that?
I think so, because it's just no work for Levitt, and even obviously he started the Celtic game, and as a game we just looked again overrunning midfield. He's meant to be a player that can take the ball in tight areas and make things happen, and it was just, for whatever reason, no worked for him. And it's maybe one of those things that, God, I'm thinking back to the Boyle Harris swap all the years ago. That worked out for us in the end. So you never know. But I think as the way things, it's what Levitt's shown so far, I would say yes to that at the moment now.
I had put a tweet when Levitt signed. I was not entirely serious, right, in my defence, right, but I tweeted to say that Levitt would leave Hibs as an £8 million player. And if it goes as part of a swaps deal, then that immediately means we've signed McGowan for £8 million, and nobody will be able to convince me otherwise. What did you make of Sunday's performance, Callum?
Oh, it was just the exact same as last season. It just didn't feel any different. I was like Jeff. I'd taken a draw, although I did kind of say, like, they played the Thursday night. We struggled terribly last season playing Thursday, Sunday. Maybe says more about us, but it was just the manner of the goals were just so soft. There's no reaction. And the kind of the point I wanted to talk about was like the reaction from fans after the game. And I don't think the communication for the club's helping right now. I just think there's not near enough engagement. There's not enough positive engagement. Like when Bill Foley called out the club in the media, David Gray was left to kind of answer that himself. We've been linked to, like, say, Hoylett and who was the other free agent? I can't. It's off the top of my head now. But we were linked with them before the game on Sunday, and then they're not signed until after that. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's the delay? They're free agents, and all it makes it look like is like it was a panic buys because of the result on Sunday. The way like Hoylett was announced in social media was different to everybody. He never got like the big build up, the kind of the teaser videos and all that. It's like there's no like consistency. And I think in terms of like social media and putting things out to the fans, they've done like two of these kind of teammate videos since the start of the season, and that's kind of gone back to this sort of start of the kind of competitive season of the League Cup, and that's kind of been about it. And I just think that we can overreact, and you can have your bedwetters and whatever else, but I just think the club could be doing a lot more to get fans engaged, and even things like no announcing the number of season tickets have been sold this season. That's normally like that happens every year, and they'll push on to get the next 1,000 and whatever else. It's just not been there. And I really don't think that's helping the kind of the mood around the fans at the moment. Albeit today, making a signing like Bowie, that is going to get fans back on side for the time being, and then we go into two games with Celtic, so we'll be back to normal next week.
It's probably like the worst like run of fixtures we could have hoped for. Like the St Mirren one was never a gimme, and we saw that last season. Like, remember us talking on the podcast, I think at the start of last season, looking we had Livingston, St Mirren and Motherwell, all very winnable games, and then we won none of them. Then we started this season St Mirren away, and although it's one that we fancied our chances with, you could just as easily lose it as happened. And then we've got these two against Celtic, and I think it's Dundee after that. So like it's going to be tough. What would you do then, Callum? If you were at Hibs now, how would you try to kind of steer the narrative over the next couple of weeks to go through these sort of tricky ties?
I don't know. There just needs to be. I don't know if it's just a kind of like sort of, I don't know, regular communication stuff that's a bit more upbeat. Players being involved, maybe doing like interviewing the captain about the season ahead or whatever. Not just sending him out after a bad result. That's the only time we seem to hear from Joe Newell. He's the one that gets chucked in front of the camera. Before that, it was Paul Hanlon. I'll just keep it a bit more. I couldn't answer like as to what that is, but I just feel that there could be something there because you get all these tweets and posts about, oh, we've secured this deal, secured that deal, and then you'll get the usual replies. That's not centre half. That's not a right winger. Honestly, I don't know what, but there needs to be something just to kind of get the fans back on side. And I don't think I say the fans, obviously. You can talk about majorities and minorities or whatever, but for the next 2 weeks, I think it's not going to be great until we actually pick up a few wins. Not saying that we're more than capable of taking something off of Celtic at Easter Road. We've done that consistently over the years, and I mean, you never know with the League Cup. But I just wanted to touch on what you were saying about McCowan. I watched the Dundee derby at the weekend, and there was a point in the game, I don't know if anyone else was watching, it was late on in the game, and McCowan sat in the halfway line for I think it was a Dundee corner, and Dundee United broke, and McGowan chased the boy down. He actually sprinted past him, put the ball out for a tackle, and then he turned and he got right in the face of United player, as if to say, "You're not beating me today." And I just thought, after seeing that, and I've seen McCowan play, and I've seen him score against us at Easter Road, I thought that is what we were missing. I knew lost a kind of tackle or whatever, but we've got no nasty bastards in that team anymore. I don't think we've had for a while. Maybe going back to Porteous, but that's what we need. Whether whose place he takes or whether it works or what shape we play, I don't know, but we definitely need that type of character in the team.
I think it's spot on. Marvin talked about it a wee bit on Monday night when we had him on, but I think we've noticed it before. It's not just the nastiness, but it's the determination to take the game by the scruff of the neck as well, and to dominate it, which is McGowan doing there in that example that you gave, is making sure he's done his bit and then lifted everybody else around him. And we definitely missed that. What have you made of the signings that we've made, Callum?
I tweeted today saying the question got asked about Bowie. I've never seen the laddie play, and it's just, but that's not me being negative. I don't know what to expect. Looked at his videos, but for what I gather, he's kind of left side. He likes to kind of cut in off the right hand side. Big lad, he can score a header. I've seen his goals for the under 21s and stuff, and for the videos I've seen of Northampton. But then we don't really know kind of how Northampton play. He said himself in his interview, I thought his interview was excellent, by the way. Came across really so good, well. Even him to admit to not being sure about being able to manage it in League Two, and then even going back the next season and saying, I'm not sure if I could manage it in League One, and obviously he overcame that. He played I think he only missed 2 games last season in the league. I think there's going to be a bit about him. It's just a case of where he's going to play. He did kind of mention that he played 7 games up front and scored 5 goals. So it sounds like he wants to play through the middle. Whether that's going to happen or Big Kukarevich is going to play there, or if Vente finds a bit of form, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. And obviously there's this talk about this Bournemouth marquee potential signing. I don't know if I'd describe like a centre half or a fullback as a marquee signing. I'd imagine they'll be talking about a forward player, but we don't know until they've decided who's kind of surplus to requirements. We don't know who we're going to get in, I'd imagine.
They were quite interesting comments for Gray. When it was talking about the end of the window and still expecting to see something from Bournemouth. I think it's interesting as the team starts to take shape. I was trying to pick a first 11. I think I put it on Twitter as well. And it's quite difficult to do now. You've got a couple of different formations we could play, but there's maybe a couple of new signings vying for the same spot, or down the left-hand side, you've got Hoylett or Cadden or Abita or Molotnikov now that can play down that side, which wasn't there at all before. So it's starting to shape up. Would you expect to see anybody sort of stellar coming in towards the end of the window?
My eyes were on the boy Jebison because he never played much for Sheffield United, but Bournemouth have obviously still signed him. But they've got Solanke, and is it a Turkish striker? But there's talk now of Solanke potentially going to Tottenham and things like that. So I don't know. The obvious one would be Bevan, and he just signed a 4-year deal.
He did, yeah.
And obviously he did sign for us in January, but he would be the most obvious one. But then we've just signed 2 centre halves that are going to want to play every week. So is Bournemouth going to want Bevan to come to us to be a sub when they've just committed to a 4-year deal with the laddie? I don't know. But I don't really know the Bournemouth kind of youth team or reserve players. I hadn't even heard of Marcondes before he signed for us in January. So
I think if Bevan comes, it gives us the opportunity to play 3 at the back. I'm not sure if David Gray trusts Rocky in a 3 at the back based on what we've seen so far. So maybe Bevan comes in, that opens that opportunity up for us. Callum, thanks. I'm going to bring in James next. James, how's it going?
Not bad. Like everybody else, a bit scunnered for Sunday, and then the roller coaster goes back up one of those nice little loops, and the Rose is all happy again. So it's been a strange old week.
What do you think went wrong on Sunday? Obviously, the result and the performance, but if to drill it down a bit further than that, what would you pinpoint?
St Mirren must have changed their shape. I couldn't pick up on it, but for the first 25 minutes, I thought we were on top. Didn't create much, but I thought we were the better side. And then just after the half-hour mark, they stopped playing long balls and got the ball on the deck. And as Jeff says, I don't think our centre halves were the problem. They started playing the ball wider. They played round us basically. So they probably recognised the centre mid was too strong. Centre halves were having a field day with the long balls. And they just started going round us. I mean, the second goal was just a fuck up. It happens to us all. I've seen many centre half make a shit pass. It happens. But the third goal was down the wide our left, and it's just they played round us. It was a different change. I think we need coach staff. If it's a lesson for them, they need to recognise that teams will change shape on us and change the style on us, like Celtic did. I mean, we discussed that they were compact and then pushed their midfield on top of us in the second half, and we had no real outball or no quality outball. So I think maybe we need to realise a bit quicker that we might need to adapt our shape mid-game. And I thought the substitution for bringing Cadden on was a bit strange, because we ended up with two right-backs on, and then Boyle got flung over the far side. I just thought the shape started getting a bit chaotic, which didn't help. So, again, maybe the strength and depth now we're getting will stop us having to shift shape badly mid-game. So, yeah, and the feeling in the crowd was a strange one. Yeah, you did a couple of angry ones, as you always do, but there's more apathy. It's more a case of, fuck it. Here we go again. And then third goal, everybody left. And it wasn't a angry, it was more just resignation. It's just like, this is it.
There was obviously the online reaction after it was like wild. I mean, we had the podcast episode and we kind of had a good old moan up about it. I listened down the slope. The podcast was excellent as well. They focused very heavily on a lot of the same stuff that we did, but with a lot of finger pointing and criticism towards Ben Kensel and Ian Gordon. But what are your views on Kensel and Ian Gordon, James?
If this was Sunday night, I'd probably be saying get them to fuck. But I just don't know what they're doing. I mean, Cam touched on it, there's no communication for the club. There is some of it's brilliant. I love the announce videos. So there is somebody there doing their job right. But he is right, there's nothing coming there's no mouthpiece from the higher up. Because we had Leanne a few years back, she would come out and say something if it was a bit restless. She would say something. Don't hear anything for Kenzo, don't hear anything for the Gordons. I mean, if something really bad was to happen, we'd probably hear. But I mean, they probably know not to show their faces right now, which is, again, indicative of the problem. So, I've been throwing that trust the process around all week because I've been fairly laid back about it because we've still got a month of the transfer window. We've still to see Bournemouth hand. They've only spent, I say, 50 million. They spent 150 last year. So I don't think their season's in the caca for another week. Mm-hmm. So they're not finished. Not the clubs that we're waiting for the snowball effect for us to pick up the throwaway players that they don't want, which could be good players. We'll know yet for another week, maybe 2 weeks. And then you get the panic buys where players are like, we need to, the financial fair play at the very top is now a case where they're going to have to jettison some really good players. So say Bournemouth pick up a Tottenham striker or vice versa, Solanke goes there. They're going to have to get rid of somebody there. And that's all going to trickle down. And we could end up with some Championship, League One players, top end, having to get rid of players because they've got this superstar from Tottenham, they can't afford this other guy. I think it's going to be, because this financial fair play now is in play, it could be quite interesting for us to pick up some pieces, but we're now filling our squad up. Will we have space for them? I mean, I asked you about the Bournemouth thing earlier, and you said it's kind of a wee bit better. And I read the kind of article. It seems all right. I mean, hopefully they're speaking. Hopefully they've got to that stage. Maybe going for a couple of drinks, who knows? But I think if they were to send Bevan up here, Bevan to me would just be a hard bottle. He'd just be reserved because I love the two guys we've got, and they're our players. We want to develop them. I'm looking at the positions we've no signed, which is centre mid.
Yep.
But we're now looking at McCown, which would be a good signing for me. Campbell would be a great signing. Bowie looks like a Shankland to me. I watched a couple of videos before come on here. He's a tall laddie, bit of a shithousery up front. And one of the goals I saw from Northampton is exactly what Shankland did to Rocky last year. Just to centre half over, put it in the back of the net.
Mentioned that in his interview, didn't he? Like he likes to kind of
likes getting amongst
knock about the defenders, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely something we've been missing. Do you think, James, the folk like us on the podcast jumped the gun with the criticism and the everyone's fucking shite and we're not signing anybody? Were we all like a little bit premature with it, or do you think it was justified?
How many times have we been premature in the last 6 months? Foley comes in, we're all excited and we're buying the world. That's what we do. I mean, we react 10 times to what's really happening. I mean, good or bad.
Yeah.
But if it's one or two people are reacting, then you go, you're just acting the goat. But it's the whole support. I mean, you mentioned down the slope, and poor Harry gets tore into individual players. The kind of worst thing I hate to see. But he was saying certain players shouldn't be playing again, shouldn't be anywhere near the club. That's a wee bit over the top, my opinion. But it shows people are passionate about the club. But that passion can happen sometimes, like we all do, over the top. I mean, we've all done it. I mean, I'm guilty of it so many times. So, as an overreaction, no, we're fans. It's what we do. Taking a step back in 2020 hindsight, aye. We've still got this first game of the season. There's still 111 points up for grabs.
Aye. I think there's a risk of going the other way with it as well, and going, this has made a few signings, now everything's great and just all's forgiven. But I was having this conversation with Hibs.net earlier, and it's almost like, I think it's great that we're signing players, and I do think that there's an element of the reaction lighting a wee bit of fire under folk at the club. I don't think like they've gone, we're not planning to sign anybody, and then went, shit, we need to sign people now. I think they've been working on these transfers, but I think the urgency to get them over the line probably increased in the wake of Sunday's result. But I think we've been here before where transfer windows where we've gone like the January window where we're talking about Maconde's coming in, but as good as anything outside the Old Firm, and Malida, who was had a £100 million release clause, and the summer window before, even like when Kenner came in, Jair, and you had Lee Johnson talking about how did we get this guy? The managers phoning me up telling me we should never have been able to get him, and we all fall for it, and we all go about how isn't it great they've backed the manager, and then 6 months in we're watching the same midfield that's been there for however many seasons. We're watching the team slide slowly down the league, and you sort of everybody starts questioning the recruitment again, and you just get to this sort of cycle. So I'm almost at the point of going, on the face of it, I think it's encouraging, but I really want to hold fire and say, right, I'm not going to go, it's shite or it's amazing until maybe like a few months in where we can see what it's actually like.
I think if Bowie scores the first goal, if he plays on Sunday, the batter's in the winner, we're just going to go nuts. We're winning everything again.
Sure, I'm all on board with that approach as well, to be fair.
So, as I said, I'm a fan. I'm up and down on the results. I don't go home and batter the dogs, but it's just, I'll drive home, it can be, music's either up or down. It's just, I'm either up here or down here. And a draw can be a win or a lose feeling as well. So it's a crazy sport, but we enjoy it.
That's what we love. Right, I'm going to bring him just before we just got a couple of comments on the YouTube. So, Gary Hudson says, get rid of Jake Doyle-Hayes and keep Levitt. Ian Toggle says, we were shite on Sunday and deserved what we got. Brilliant to get guys in, but should have been in earlier. By the time these new guys are up to speed, we could well have a mountain to climb. And come on, we shouldn't be waiting until the end of the transfer window. Ian, you look like you're still in France.
I am indeed in France.
Aye.
Je suis en France. It's funny because I just thought that Macondes and Malida were a complete waste of time last year. It was complete distraction. A wee bit of excitement, but still ended up in the bottom six. Complete waste of time. All we did was keep our own players out. James got away with that last week, so I'm not going to let him away with it again this week. He said, we've all done that. We've all shouted at individual players. Well, I've never done that. I've never, ever done that because I didn't understand it. I didn't still understand why you would shout at individual players. But Sunday was the same as last season, basically. And I think I think the good thing is the coverage that Longbangers has put on since the match, actually, which I thought both episodes were excellent.
Thank you.
But same as last season, as Colin John yourself said, we just couldn't score. And we didn't score. And it was, and as one of you said, they were coached correctly to let us have the ball. It was a really easy summary from David Gray, and they were clinical and we were criminally not clinical. I was disappointed with Nathan because I'm a fan of his. He didn't have any impact. Josh was disappointing, and Rooney, as you said earlier, I think now will be used sparingly because obviously they look quite different to the way they looked previously. That if we'd taken any chances, it would have been so different. The signings that we've got, they have actually exceeded what we were looking for at the end of last season. Very, very, very much exceeded them. So, I think the signings we've got now are terrific. If we're able to bring in Campbell or Luke McCown, then that would be stunning. But so far, I think I'm delighted with what we've had. I've said repeatedly that Dylan Venti, unfortunately, is just ineffective. And ineffective is what you can't have your striker being. So I think we would have scored, I don't know, maybe another 11 goals in the matches that Dylan's played where he should have scored. And obviously, Boyle at the weekend should have scored as well. So our strikers are being letting us down, and I think it's going to make a hell of a difference signing two of them. So I'm really excited, just like everyone else, with the interview that Bowie gave. I think it's great. He seems genuine. He seems to be excited about being here. I love the fact that it suits his family. With having the young bairns, and I like Nick Cadden as well, saying pretty much the same thing, that the grandparents will be able to see the bairns. So these things are really, really important. Speaking as a granddad, to be able to see your grandkids and things like that, and have that support mechanism in place, which Bowie will now have. So I think I'm very, very encouraged. It was a throwaway game at the weekend. It just is, just a couple of stupid things. So it didn't really matter. The main thing was we couldn't score. If we'd scored, it would have been a massively different game, because it was obvious at the start that St Mirren were tired. And if we'd scored two, I think we would have won the game easily.
We've spoken quite a lot about Bowie, but we also brought in Kukarevic as well. What we made of that signing, Ian?
Well, obviously, people like, obviously, when you've got a big centre forwards, and then obviously when Bowie was talking about that and talking about roughing people up, then people like, everybody laughed at it, but I loved Colin Nish for that. Right, I loved Colin Nish because he was so difficult to handle. And whenever you watch the League Cup again, the 5-1 game, at the start of the match, we were struggling to deal with Colin Nish. And obviously Christian Doige was a great foil for us, and it made no sense getting rid of him. But I think Kukarevic has got a good combination skill. I think we should just forget about Venti and move him somewhere else. He should just be a sub just now, and we should just focus on the two of them up front together. So I'm delighted with Kukarevic. I would much rather we didn't bring in loan players, but if we're going to bring in one, then we should bring him in. I was disappointed in terms of the strategy. Like, he's available, therefore bring him in. And my brother's not got a job at the moment. Is that all right? I just bring him in as well. It just doesn't make any sense. But just hearing them as individuals, then I'm delighted. So I'm very, very pleased with the signings. I think last season, the problem we had last season was largely down to our crap coaching. Sorry, our different type of coaching. And David Gray's just snapped out of that right away. So I think the coaching is going to make a hell of a difference and would have made a difference for the same team. So I think David Gray will be delighted with what he's got.
I've asked the same sort of question that I asked James to you about Ben Kensell and Ian Gordon. Ian, where do you stand on these guys?
I think your last question was a good one, because I think people feel like arseholes now, constantly criticising them. I don't see. I mean, you've got a chief executive of a company. Chief executive of the company is responsible for putting people in place to do the jobs, right? That's what chief executive does. Chief executive does not go and buy a centre forward, right? And as you know, my view is, once the decision was made to go with Malky Mackay, which really disappointed me in terms of, I thought it was going to be the Black Knights were coming in and that was going to elevate us, right? But instead we brought an establishment figure who respects people like Rangers and Celtic, whereas I'd much rather be brought in somebody who had no respect for them whatsoever. So Malky Mackay has prejudged what we're going to do. Now we've got David Gray in, and I just want Malky Mackay to not appear as a strapline at the bottom of every single comment that David Gray makes about a signing. Ben Kensell, Ian Gordon, I don't care about them. I simply don't care about them. Ben Kensell's job is to be the chief executive of the company. It's not to do anything to do with football.
But isn't the argument being that he's had too much to do with the football, and this is what folk have had the issue with. Both Ben and Ian have sort of stuck their oar in, and sort of. I mean, if you take the Adam Lafondra decision, like that situation last season as an example, where you had the head coach and the director of football, who was Brian McDermott at the time, wanted to keep him. And the decision makers on this football matter were Ben and Ian saying we needed to get the age of the squad down, so you can't play him anymore. You've got that's non-football people making football decisions. That's where folk were getting frustrated.
It's quite interesting, though. Is that a football decision, right? Because if you think about I realise it's anywhere else that would be illegal. That would be illegal to get rid of somebody because of their age. Yeah. But certainly within, if you got a software company where I always worked in software, people always looked for young people to come in and be the inspiration and take the company to the next level. And they were actively looking for younger players as part of the team. So I think it's perfectly okay strategically to say we want a younger squad, and that is not a football decision. That is a staffing decision, as far as I'm concerned. And that is what a chief executive should do. Come up with strategy. But as you know, we've not seen much sign of strategy.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm just conscious of time. I'm going to bring in Tracy next, and then John, and then Shay. Tracy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Where do you want to start tonight?
Oh, well, I think we've made good signings. Like them all. It does look like from Sunday that, I don't know, maybe they were keeping the signings till because it was our birthday and they wanted to put 2 signings out. You just don't know. It might have all been planned to be that way for the 2, but it just did seem a little bit, because everyone was like, oh, I saw Cadden at the game on Sunday, and I would imagine he's probably been up and around here for a while, not having a club.
Well, I think Chris got married in the summer as well, so yeah. I think
he would have been up here for that as well.
Aye.
So yeah, that was a surprise though, and I like a surprise because I hate when things get leaked, because then just loses all the surprise. I like a wee surprise one. So yeah, that was. I think they're all good signings. I think where they've all come from as well. They're playing in leagues which are physical, which they need for the league up here. Some of them have experience with Scottish football. Others, there's a couple that don't. But I think the leagues that they've come from, stands them in good stead for up here, with the physicality that we have up here. So I think that's been Dave's basis on bringing in players. I didn't think we don't need. I don't know if we need anybody really fancy for the Premier League. Sometimes that's a boring watch. on a Sunday. It's not as good as sometimes the games we get up here. Just have to look at the Dundee derby at the weekend. That was a fantastic game, end to end. I think even my kids stopped to watch it.
But then you had Hearts Rangers, just to counter that, you had Hearts Rangers, which
Oh,
was shite.
I know.
You know,
Boring.
so swings and roundabouts, eh?
I know. So, but yeah, that was a good advert for Scottish football. It was good to have the Dundee derby back. Something other than the old firm, if we can still call it that. Probably not, but but yeah, no, I think we've made really good signings. I feel the football's separate from the club. I feel like I can separate the two. So I'm excited for Dave. I still think Dave's the right man. Nothing's going to change my opinion on that. I know he would have been raging on Sunday night, just at the manner that we lost the goals. We're creating chances, which is good. If we weren't creating them, that would be a problem. And those things that are happening on the pitch can be fixed. You know, they can look at them in training, they can look over them, they can review them. So I don't have a problem. Yeah, we've got 2 tough games coming up against Celtic. Our house is going to be an absolute hoot. So might not let John home on Sunday or the following Sunday.
Aye, just keep him out.
But yeah, it's going to be fun in our house for sure. But I think once we get past these games, I don't feel we're going to get. Like, I sat there on Sunday going, oh my God, it's going to be about 7-0 next weekend. But I don't think we'll get the hammering that everybody thinks we're going to get.
Well, how do you think the squad's shaping up now, Tracy? Like, once we know the signings that are in, so far not many have left since. I can't remember who the last person to leave was, but it's been a wee while since there's been a departure. So the squad's starting to take shape now, I think. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, no, I think it's looking good. I agree with the others. You know, we need a good number 6, like a Marv, like a Milligan, that we've not had for a long time, and we're having to put people in there that's not naturally their positions, and it's not worked. We don't have anybody that's got that dig in that position. So I would definitely say that's one that we definitely need.
And the idea of swapping Levitt plus money for McCowan, would you be in favour of a deal like that?
If he's happy about it, because we all know what happened with the Simon Murray one. I don't think he was too happy about that at the time. But obviously everybody had to do what they had to do to get the deal line and get Scotty back. But yeah, as long as he's happy for it, I think for his probably mental health, it would be a good, because this amount of stick he gets from supporters is absolutely disgusting. I'll never forget that tweet last season that said if I had 3 bullets. And just, you know, it's stuff like that, just like, wow. You know, he's had so much stick and abuse, and he's not really played in his natural position. So can we really judge him? So I think if he's happy with it, then I think it would be good if we can get McCowan.
And what did you think to the reaction to Sunday's defeat? Because it was wild, wasn't it? Like, he went on social media after it, and it was like fucking Wild West with everybody. And I was as guilty, like, or say as me, I was as guilty as anybody with it. Like, I kind of get carried away, jumped 2 foot in with it. So, what did you make of the reaction?
Yeah, it was wild, but that's just how supporters are just so up and down. If we'd won on Sunday, it would have been completely different. Oh, look at this, Dave's the man, and all this kind of stuff. And nobody would be shouting for Ben or Ian. For me, I think it's just the foot, as I say, I can separate the football with the club. And I think, you know, we've put Malky in place. Dave and the coaching staff are obviously helping with these additions, because we heard that Sammy had a big... You know, he was, can't even get my words, menopausal brain.
Forgetting Hoylett, and he was,
yeah,
like,
so
he was a key partner, wasn't he? Yeah.
He'd been in Aberdeen with him, so obviously they're all doing their jobs and doing their work, so I don't have any problems with the kind of football side. Obviously your CEO overlooks everything, whether he's involved in the football or not. He's still kind of involved because he'll be a signatory as well. The board are involved because sometimes they'll have to make decisions on whether or not we have funds for a certain player or whatever. So everybody is kind of involved anyway, but I do think the football side will take care of itself. But I think people are really frustrated because we have not heard from anybody in such a long time. After the Bill Foley money, all the excitement around that, it's okay when we've got something to celebrate, everybody's quite happy. They put out that statement, there was going to be a review, didn't really back the manager, but that came through the Gordons family. It wasn't from our CEO. Then when the manager got sacked, it was a statement from the Gordons again. It wasn't our CEO. It just seems to lack leadership, the club. It's like, I've not renewed, I've had one phone call, no voicemail, no follow-up call. So are they really bothered that I've not renewed? Probably not, but how many others haven't renewed, and are they bothered? So I feel there's not that loyalty. I think if I was a corporate season ticket holder, then I think probably that would be different, and they would be on at me because of the amount of cash I'm bringing into the club. It just feels very people over money. I don't feel that it's certainly not a family club anymore. That's how it feels, and it certainly doesn't feel like a players' club. You know, we're talking about moving players on, but what are they doing to help those players to move on? Because you help them, it helps the club, and it helps the player, and it moves them on. I'm not into this isolating players. There's been so much about Jake Doyle-Hayes as well on loads of the forums, saying that we're not allowed to ask about him in press anymore. So what the hell's happening there? Not heard about Nohan either. Again, a young lad.
Aye.
So I then think, well, what's the welfare like for these players? Because obviously that's what I do in my job on a daily basis, player care. And I just feel that, you know, are we looking after the welfare of players? You know, even at the end of the day, if they're still contracted, they're your player and you've got a duty of care to them. You know, if you want them to move on, help them move on. Work with them and get them so that you can release some money for wages, etc., and make that look a little bit better. But it'll also help them.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just hearing so much of it at the moment, just clubs isolating players. We heard of it for Chelsea as well with Gallagher. You know, if you're not going to move on, then if you're not going to agree to this transfer, then you'll be playing with the under 23s and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just not really kind of into that. So it just gives me bad vibes on that as well.
Seen it with Rangers as well, with the boy, was it Cantwell that?
Yeah.
Although you have to say it was quite amusing seeing the man. What's their manager called again?
Clement.
Yeah, coming back into the press conference because he'd forgotten to try and sell him. Like he did his press conference, went away, and then oh fuck, I was about to try and sell Campbell, and then keep running back. And it's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, Campbell's available. Somebody buy him. Anyway, yeah,
someone like him, people have seen quite a bit of.
Yeah.
But for someone like maybe your Jake, okay, Nohan's been lucky with his loans. He's been quite well played. Like even when Malky was up at Ross County, he got played near enough every game. And I know at the time he really loved playing under Malky. So I always thought with that relationship there, maybe he might even be on the bench, but you just don't know if they're getting told, like the Adam Lafondre situation, is the manager getting told, no, you cannot play these players because we want them out of the club, or we need to move them, you know, you just don't know.
The graders, they fancy them as well, Joe. I mean, this is the other thing, but no, I agree. I think there's a way to exit players as much as a way to sign them.
I just think we use football as an excuse to treat people badly, like supporters do it because it's football. He's a football player. He gets loads of money, so we can talk about him like how we want. And in football clubs, it's like, well, it's a football club. It's different from any other business. No, you're still dealing with people, so treat them properly.
No, I totally agree.
Okay, I'm going to stop my rant.
No, you're all right. All right. Just conscious of time. I'm going to bring John in, and then poor Shays last up the night and sitting patiently. So we'll get to you, Shay, I promise. John, what have you got for us tonight?
Just to add to that, I mean, Bosman was the first turnaround in terms of players getting a bit more power back. Ian's already referred to the idea that we dumped a player because he was too old. I mean, breaches Age Discrimination Act. At some point, a club's going to pay very, very heavily for constructive dismissal. I mean, and that will change it. Yeah. However, the club have created that problem this week. Now, Sunday was the product of 2.5, 3 years worth of frustration with poor performance and over-promising and under-delivering by the club. Now, Ben Kensall has a problem that he's been in there for that period of time. the truth is that Ben has done a fabulous job in the back office stuff on the stadium, hospitality, getting the corporate side all sorted out. He got lauded by everybody around the table at the shareholders meeting earlier in the year.
Mhm.
What we don't know whether that's why Ron Gordon brought him in. Know what I mean? And the idea that he is the big problem with the footballing side. No, we don't. We know that there's been too many different people involved in the football side. But this week the club have got a bit more kudos back with the fans. I'll be gutted to see Levitt go. I'm one of those that thinks that he has got an absolute wand of a pass. Know what I mean? He is a brilliant player. He seems to have a heads-up attitude. He's a sort of higher up the pitch, scored a goal against Celtic. I mean, I would love him to be successful, but not everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. So natural change. We have a training environment that should have upped the gear in terms of the players that we've brought in. So you're expecting everything to improve. So we now have 2 games against Celtic. Fans are looking to win. We won't be turning up at Easter Road expecting to lose. We will put everything we can in to win that. But if we don't win it, it'll be about how we don't win it. That'll be the issue. And you're looking for that fight and grit. And we've shown that in the Celtic games there. So that's all there. So the board, I mean, and again, you go back to this golden quadrant. I mean, they have the opportunity over the next 3 weeks to get their cards in line, because they don't want to, the first time they describe what the golden quadrant is and how they're running Hibs, they don't want that to be to some sort of conference down in Manchester and fans are hearing little snippets. There needs to be something, and I would suggest it's when the transfer window has shut, where you've got a couple of corporate interviews with Malky as to how's he settling in after his first 4 months in the job, how's things going. Ben's coming out about a shake-up of the roles and this new, and this is a success, and this is what we're looking for, and this is a stability goal. That's what's missing. But we're still in the middle of a transfer window. The idea that I would imagine some transfers happen in the blink of an eye, but I don't get the impression from watching Hibs and other clubs over the past 3 or 4 years that anything happens over 3 days.
Mhm.
I mean, these are 3 or 4 week processes in terms of getting everybody lined up, agents happy with everything that's going on, medical staff happy, contract lawyers and everything in place. So there's been a lot of hard work, and that's what Gray said was happening last week. I don't like the trust the process stuff, but Ben is everything that you hear from him, he wants to be really, really positive about everything. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's a read the crowd thing. I just hope that what they're doing at the moment is they're seeing that they're changing the squad, which needed done. They're bringing in players that the fans are seeing as better options. They're showing ambition with who they're going for, even if it doesn't come through. But going at some point, just sit down and do it however you want. I mean, I would rather they came on with some of you guys in terms of the pods that go out and about to have a chat. I mean, but it has to be something more controlled, like when the 3 of you went out with, what's his name, who left, who was the original
Steve Keane.
Steve Keane. If it has to be something like that, where it's more within the club's environment, yeah, sit down and do something like that. And again, it's not about trying to put Ian Gordon front and centre and show him up in terms of speaking to crowds and stuff like this. No, just sit down, give us something that's a bit more personal in terms of this is where the club settled. Things might have not been right in the past. We tried a few things, but this is where we are now and why. That's all the fans need. We saw it last year. We loved the European stuff. We loved Thursday night songs. That all came crashing down, and we immediately got behind a new manager when they brought it in. We're there and ready to support the club and take everything forward. They just need to line it up for us.
I didn't disagree with anything you said there, John. It's funny, I'm feeling like a lot more mellow. But at the end of this, I wasn't sure how tonight's call was going to go. Do you know, you definitely get a sense of softening towards the club because of the signings that have happened this week. But it's like in stark contrast for how it was on like Sunday, Monday. And I honestly, like, I know obviously have no idea what to expect. We never brief anybody or say, can go and say this or say that. It's totally whatever you think. But I'm feeling like a lot more kind of mellow after that. I've been arguing like fuck with. I mean, poor Jeff's in a WhatsApp group with me and some of the other guys, and it's just been like pistols at dawn. Like for the moment we get up arguing about this and that and the next thing, and I like get to the end of the call tonight thinking I need to chill the fuck out a wee bit. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's what the approach I'm going to take.
I mean, I said it during the summer, but let things come to us. I mean, we're not control the club. It's not ours. We don't own it. We're fans. Little nods to the idea that 150 is being looked at now. They've got the right year. I mean, which was a worry for it. Which year is it going to be and all that? It's next season. There's lots of little things that are just right. But at the moment, we're impatient because we've been patient. It's like 6 transfer windows to get 2 bloody centre halves. I mean, yeah, there was so many little problems that are going away, and we just needed to draw. I mean, I tweeted back to you is that I didn't get a ticket to the game on Sunday, and clearly I'm hoping to try and get one of the 752 for Celtic Park. But here, let's see. That's probably a topic for sort of later weeks. But we're there. We're quite happy. But we were 1-1, and the tweet comes through to say Boyle's missed a 1-1. I'm thinking, oh, we're still in the game. And the next thing I know, we've got beat 3-0. And it's like, Arr! But then it's like, well, got beat, nothing I can do about it, move on. That's a challenge. Knowing is that season tickets, the media team have done so much right this summer in terms of how they brought things forward, their timings for things. We don't play our first home game till Sunday. So announcing the number of season tickets, because they're still doing what's your generation stuff out. The media team maybe have a date for that that's just not just now, it's maybe next week. After the first home game, but there's just an impatience because of frustration with everything that's coming through. So hopefully they're thinking about the next 4 weeks. Just to settle everything down.
Aye. Do you think it will settle down in the next 4 weeks? Obviously, we've got some tough games. How do you think the reaction is going to be over the next couple of weeks if things go to form? Obviously, not prejudging anything, and we could win games, but if they go as expected, how do you think the club will ride it out?
Celtic fans aren't happy at the moment. They're seeing the club as they're not a bank. They're meant to be a football club. They're not. It's not a savings account that you've got. They're just about to sell their best midfielder. We know in past when we've sat on McGregor for the game, we take a bit out of them in terms of what they can do. And invent who else? I'm trying to think who we've got. Campbell. We've got 2 players that we can do that. You probably stick Campbell on them and just say follow up. So is there a plan that we can put into place at Easter Road with the home crowd behind it to limit Celtic and try and get opportunities for us? Yeah. I still remember Lee's goal for almost the byline. To put us 1-0 up, and then Celtic missed chance after chance. To win that game. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So we go into Sunday with sort of that fighting chance. We can put a plan together. If they turn up, if they click, if they play at 95% of capability, yeah, there's nothing we can do. But they have to do that. If they drop below that because other things are against them, yeah, give us a chance. But it'll be about attitude, application, and how we deal with it. Home game again. We need 6 points. To me, we have to beat Kilmarnock. We have to beat Dundee going into the break. For nothing else, then they're the teams. If we're going to try and get top 6, and we're looking with a squad now where we're saying, yeah, most of these players would get into other teams out with. We have a few of them. We would get into the Hearts and Aberdeen teams. We're not going to stretch and say Celtic and Rangers would be looking for any of them. But certainly other teams.
Well, Bowie would definitely get into the Hearts team. They tried to sign him last minute and failed miserably.
I know. I thought he didn't like the look of the cardigans.
They offered him a rover. You get a rover as you come to the car.
Shay, I'm sorry.
Aye, right, Shay. I'll bring you in now. I love the third kit that you're rocking there as well. But I think that's. I was a huge fan of the third kit last season, and I didn't think the green and purple stripes would top it this season, but I think I stand corrected.
I'm ashamed. Like, I actually went to buy it, like all 3 kits on the game against Watford. I was only going to buy the home two, but I was like, nah, I'll get the third one. But I love it. It's the only top I've actually worn out of the 3 I've bought because I love it that much. But it's great.
Where do you want to start the night? You're kind of last map. What I'll do is once we've had a wee chat with you, I'll go round and we'll get a wee bit of prediction for Sunday. But how are you feeling about Hibs now?
Not sure, to be honest. Like, I've tried to keep off social media as much as I can, purely because I knew the reaction from Sunday would be absolute chaos. But it's like what a few people have said. I think it's very misleading from the board, like not miscommunicating even. So I think it's been poor from like Ben, like even just all the interview every so often to say how he's feeling, how he thinks the club's progressing or whatever. But yeah, I feel sorry for the players. I think it's like a lot of pressure on them to perform. It's like obviously we want them to win every week, but like obviously with social media, it's like if you look at, I'm a bit younger than you guys, so I'm been like all my life has been social media. Whereas it like beforehand, it was like you wouldn't really hear it unless you seen a fan in the street. Whereas like somebody just looks on Twitter, like first like 5 tweets could be like, "Oh, he's shite," he he get him out. So like Rocky, like he's not had the absolute best of his career, but I know he's been a target. Obviously, Levitt's been said as a target. Johan as well. But I think as a club at the minute, I think I've said it before, so we're so disconnected. At least from the board, anyway. I think at least me anyway. I'm trying to support the players as much as I can between now and when I die. But the board's not. I'm not sure. I'm confused by it all. So I just try and go to the games, and then see what happens, and try and ignore the board as much as I can. But
and how do you think the team's shaping up now? So a few signings in. Are there any that stand out as really good ones for you?
Kukurevic is one. You've seen him before. I thought he was really good the first time. It's like the goal against Hibernian always comes to mind where he just went, sorry, fuck you to Goggins and scored. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Cadden. I know that apparently he's meant to have been really good down south. I'm not sure of Hoylett. Like, I don't remember much of Hoylett when he was at Aberdeen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Every season, I always look forward to every signing we make, no matter like who they are or whatever. If they've been poor at other clubs, so if they sign for Hibs, they're a Hibs player, and that's it.
I like that about the signings. I've always been that way as well. When a player comes to Hibs, you always like have that. You want them to be brilliant, eh? Like even if they've not been stellar elsewhere, you think maybe we're the club for them that is going to work out.
Yeah, that's it.
Where do you think we still need players in? Like what area of the pitch?
I think midfield is probably the only one that needs maybe a couple other, maybe another centre half as well. But as like that sort of, but like what everybody else has said, like a sort of defensive midfielder that just is sort of solid. He's not done in a while. I've seen that I think we're rumoured that we'll be looking at a guy for Wolves that's meant to be really good. He plays for the Republic of Ireland under 21s, from what I read. But he only played like 8 games last season. So I'm not sure if he's actually any good, but he's highly rated at Wolves apparently. So
I think he was a defensive midfielder, wasn't he? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he came up for a bit of a trial and a look around, and I think it's one of these ones where both parties were having a look at each other to see whether it's suited. Yeah. So we're interested to see if anything comes of that. How do you think Sunday's going to go, Shay?
To be honest, I say this every time we play Celtic, pure because they're the best team in Scotland. Not to hate on Hibs, but I think it's with every team. They just want you just think they're going to just blow us away. But I want to try and be confident for the team. So I think they'll be up for it because we lost the first game of the season. We want to try and bounce back and get the 3 points for the fans because of how disappointed we've been. But yeah, I'm not sure. We'll wait and see. Now, if we win, we win. We lose, and we move on to same team again next week.
Celtic again. I take a bit of heart for how we played against PAOK in the pre-season game, who are like a team a level above us, and I thought we looked really organised against them. Albeit it's a pre-season friendly, and you can't read too much into it. But I thought the way that we set up was really good, and when we got I was going to say when we got the chance, we took it. It wasn't even really a chance, was it? It was just Boyle closing down the goalie that resulted in the goal. But these things can happen if you play that right. Shay, give me a score prediction then. I'll go around the table and get a score off everybody else, and then we'll wrap up.
I'll be confident and say 2-1 Hibs.
Yes, there we go. Tracy, score prediction for you. Again, you didn't like predicting, but
no,
we'll not tell anybody what
I'll just jinx it, but I think we're in a much better place. And for John's sake, hopefully it's at least a draw so he can get home.
Nice one. John? 1-1 to the good guys. Ian?
Agree with Shay, 2-1. I remember coming away for the game at Parkhead 2 years ago when we got beat 6-1. And I heard Celtic supporters saying, how did we win 6-1? I thought Hibs were really good. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a team of David Gray's playing. I think we're going to see real fight from our team. And that's all I want us to be, is competitive. So 2-1 us.
I think the big thing that we need on Sunday is fair referee. Because the last game at Easter Road, we got shafted with the VAR team and the referee, where they had like forensic analysis of any incident for Celtic, and then our 2 penalty shouts, they kind of just went, fuck it, it's no penalty, and moved on.
And at the semi-final.
We have to avoid losing 3 goals in the first 25 minutes. You know, we just need to avoid the goal. Yeah.
Callum, what about you?
If we don't concede first, I fancy us for at least a score draw. But if they score early, just like Ian said, then I think we could be in trouble. It's like a wee trait with Hibs now, isn't it? You can't really trust us when we go behind. So first goal is going to be massive. James?
2 things. I'd like to congratulate Shay on growing a bow and moustache so quick. I think that's really class.
Decent.
Good effort, man.
Thank you very much. I've been growing it for ages.
Good man. Sunday, writing about them, just smash them and Bowie to steal it late on. 1-0.
Yeah.
1-0, yes. Jeff, final word to you, mate. You were first on, you get last word.
Yeah, fine, thank you. Head says 1-1 or maybe 1-0 to them. Arch says 2-1 Hibs. Bowie score the winner.
It's not like
get Rebel playing.
It is amazing being a Hibs fan. It's like, we do these predictions every week. We never ever predict a loss. It's like we finished 8th last season. Celtic are absolutely hammering everybody before. They just beat Man City and Chelsea, and they beat Kilmarnock for and never broke sweat. And we're like, fuck it, we're beating them. Yeah, I'm all about that.
What does Matty say? What's Matty's prediction? Come on, what's Matty's prediction?
Yeah,
I'll go for a 2-0 Hibs. Yes. I think we'll bounce back. It'll be one of these ones that nobody's expecting, and we've done it before against Celtic, where we've just kind of pulled a performance out of the bag. So
yeah, I'm hoping there's a reaction last week. A reaction, you know. Somebody said it early on in the broadcast tonight. If we do get beat, the manner of the defeat has got to be right. Like the 2 penalties last season, it's stuck in the craw, but at least we gave them a game, and we should have won that game. You know, Miller missed a chance. The penalties, Boyles was a penalty. It's more a penalty. Anyway, so yeah, just turn up and smash a few, for fuck's sake.
Aye, get in there. Right, okay, thanks everybody. We'll run a wee bit. I appreciate your time this evening, guys, and please do come back next week. It's been great having you all on. Callum, I promise I'll remember next week as well. I'm brutal for stuff like that. I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, right, thanks for tuning in.